Thank you very much. Welcome everybody. This is Amen.
Thank you. Oops, hold on a second.
I'll turn off the slide.
So good evening, everyone. Esteemed rabbis, respected and appreciated law enforcement officers, retired law enforcement officers, instructors, SSOs, SSGs, and last but not least, spouses. I'd like to welcome to CCL Shul members, graduation class of 2022. My name is Chaim Manich. I'm president of the organization. On behalf of us, we'd like to welcome you all to our very important event tonight, so thank you for coming. We have a three parts to our event this evening. Our first part is paying tribute to our local law enforcement agencies, honoring them. Then we'll have a dinner. And then we'll have a award, graduation certification, and then of course pictures. Guys, don't leave before the pictures, very important. Our first portion of the event, we'd like to honor Rabbi Shannon Gelman. To present the appreciation plaques for Skokie Police Department. As you may know, he's the rabbi of the Shul, Kilat Kovet Zion, and president of the CRC. You've heard the expression dancing in two weddings. Well, the rabbis do that today figuratively. 7 o'clock he has a shiur. I promised him at 6:45, but Rabbi, you were a couple minutes late though. I promised at 6:45 we'll get you out for your second wedding. So he's actually teaching an interesting shiur at 7 o'clock. It's called Heal My Soul. It's a 6-part mini-series addressing the mental, emotional, spiritual difficulties caused by the state of the world using timeless Hasidic teachings found in Rabbi Nachman de Breslow's Likutei Moharan. Josh said if I'd plug the shiur, Josh would get back in time for 8:15 for the pictures. Right, Josh? All right. I'd personally like to thank Rabbi Gelman for participating in our first ever active shooter drill for synagogue, first ever in the state of Illinois as far as I know. Reminds me of a story in the Chumash after the Egyptians, after the Jewish people left Egypt after 400 years of slavery. We left in the morning, we were proud, we didn't want to sneak out at night. We went through the desert and then we were at the Dead Sea. At that point, the Egyptians changed their mind. They said, that's not a good idea. Let's get our slaves back. So the Egyptians got 600 of their chosen chariots and started to chase after the Jews. So here they are, looking at this vast ocean, kind of in despair. And now they got enemies at their back. And then what happened, to continue with the story, is Nachshon ben Avidan, he believed in Hashem. He had true faith in Hashem, and he knew that we just can't sit here. We have to do something about it. He said, this isn't right. So he jumped into the ocean. At that particular time, God split the sea. So figuratively, I think Rabbi Gelman did a similar thing. He knew that, if you don't mind me speaking for you, he knew that we were at a crossroads here. We could sit, we could be scared in the vast ocean, or we could actually have belief and do something about it. I think Rabbi Gelman had belief in us, he had belief in the Skokie Police Department, and belief in the system that, you know what, we really need to train for these kind of things. So I just want to acknowledge that. I think a small thing really said a lot, Rabbi. So we definitely want to appreciate it. So we'd like to call Rabbi Gelman to present the Skokie Police Department with 2 awards. One of the officers is not here, but the commander is able to accept it for him. Thank
you. Before I present this award, thank you, Chaim. This is a very special opportunity, and to have participated in our synagogue in this active shooter training, and I know that these types of trainings are being duplicated all over town. It really is a very special thing. For the most of our people's history, the Jewish people's history, members of synagogues, the the notion that we could actually partner with law enforcement to make our experience safer, to enhance our religious observance, to keep us, our children, our families feeling safe, was a foreign dream. Usually we were running away from governments, running away. The fact that we have such righteous leaders, as we call in our Bible, our shoftim v'shotrim, our officers, keeping us safe and keeping us focused on the right things, both locally and in society at large. You ought to be celebrated for what you do. I know that law officers don't always receive that this day and age, but in our community, we appreciate everything you do. We need you, and we are your partners, and we are grateful for everything that you have done for us and continue to do. So thank you. To Officer Gravenson, representing the Skokie Police Department, CCL Shul members presents to the Skokie Police Department in appreciation of your dedicated service and commitment to the security and safety of the Jewish community. From the Concerned Citizens League Shul members and the Jewish community of Skokie, June 2022. Thank you so much. And in absentia, we'll present this plaque to Sergeant Irvin Garcia in appreciation of your dedicated service and commitment to the security and safety of the Jewish community from the Concerned Citizens League members and the Jewish community of Skokie, June 2022. Thank you, Sergeant Garcia.
Robin, we got you out about 10 minutes early. Next, we'd like to call up our Vice President, our dear Vice President, Avram Hershkowitz.
Thank you, Chaim. Welcome, everybody. I'd like to call up Rabbi Mostovsky, Executive Director of the Chicago Rabbinical Council. Rabbi Mostovsky has always expressed great respect for our dear law enforcement officials and how important it was to always work together with them. Rabbi Mostovsky, if you could please come up here to present Sergeant Sisk and Officer Specht with their awards. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It is a personal and professional honor to present these awards tonight. The CRC, the Chicago Rabbinical Council, is very proud of its relationship with the police. We're very honored to have such a dedicated 24th Police District in our corner of the city of Chicago, and to work with the police department. As a Rabbinical Council, we believe and we support the rabbinic leadership in each synagogue and in the community. And while the rabbis may have the final word in synagogue policy, including security policy, it's informed by the guidance that we get from the police. And the police are really the first responders in all things. They're the first call in case of an emergency and the last call when it comes to creating policy. Together with the police and the rabbis, all of you here tonight and all the other partner organizations in the community to help develop security plans and increase security in the community. Together, we all work together, and we're so appreciative of the police department's leadership. And as Rabbi Gelman mentioned, it's not something we take for granted. It's something we appreciate, and especially to the officers that we're honoring tonight. The two officers we have here with us tonight each have dedicated, I think, a quarter of a century each to the Chicago Police Department. But we're really celebrating the part of their work in our corner of the city. Their partnership with us is indescribable, and their knowledge of the community and the nuanced security needs cannot be overstated. I first met Sergeant Sisk when I came to the CRC about 8 years ago. Rav Schwartz, Zichrono Livracha, said we have to meet with the new commander, Commander Waldera. So we met with Commander Waldera. And along with Commander Waldera came Sergeant Sisk. And what I came to learn is that over the years, commanders come and commanders go, but Sergeant Sisk is a constant. And while Sergeant Sisk has been a constant, he hasn't stayed in the same place. He's always been working towards increasing security, increasing preparedness, and increasing the capacity of the police department and the community to prepare for, God forbid, any disaster. So after the 2018 attack in Pittsburgh, when 11 people were killed on a Shabbos morning and 6 others were injured, including four police officers, Sergeant Sisk worked with then Commander Roberto Nieves to put together the place of worship security assessment team. And he recruited, thank God, honestly, thank God, he recruited Officer Speck and Officer Heath to be part of that team. And over the years, we've come to appreciate as a community not just their intelligence and their knowledge. They are now considered experts in this field of security, especially securing houses of worship. Not just here in Chicago and the Chicago area, but really nationally. They're sought after speakers. What they've established here has become a model for across the country. But personally and individually, I think everyone in this room knows that their dedication to really understanding the community, their care to really appreciate the nuanced security needs of our community is unparalleled. They know the difference between the cholent in one shul on Tui and the other shul, and where they should stop by after davening on Shabbos morning. They really know us, and they know our needs, and we're all appreciative for it. So it's really an honor to be able to present this award. First, presented to Sergeant Sisk. Presented to Sergeant Sean T. Sisk. We are grateful for the establishment of PALSAT and your dedication and commitment to the security and safety of the Jewish community. From the Concerned Citizens League Shul members in the Jewish community of Chicago, June 2022.
Sergeant, got to say words.
Okay.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
It's funny, every time I go somewhere, someone asks me to talk. I don't write my notes, I get a little nervous when I start to talk because I've been known to swear a few times at the end of Shul. Sorry, Rabbi. Just so you know, this PALSAT team that we created, it came from a place that we understood that additional resources needed to be dedicated to the Orthodox Jewish community. And I'd like to think that because of that, that's why Rabbi Mostovsky wants to sponsor me for Hebrew school, but I know that was on the table. I don't know if it still is. But no, seriously, there are violent people out here. And we see it every day on the news, every day. Some kind of mass shooting or something happening in the world. And unfortunately, a lot of those attacks are happening on places of worship. So it is not only our duty, but we take a tremendous amount of pride in trying to prepare the shuls in Rogers Park to be less vulnerable to attack. And that's a big part of what CCL Shul is doing as well. For those of you who are graduating tonight, you play an integral part in the safety of wherever you're going to be serving. Don't ever take that for granted. And don't ever forget that you have a partner with us. Okay, so you're not alone. I know it can be a little nerve-wracking, though scary sometimes. But when the wolf comes to the door, we have to have someone there prepared. We have to. It's imperative. And if you don't, if you fail to prepare, then you prepare to fail. And that's a huge, I can't thank CCL Shul enough for putting together this program. They're supplementing what we're doing, and we're all working hand in hand together. So tonight, thank you for the award. I really appreciate it. But we still got a lot of work to do. So thank you all.
next award is, as Avram just said, it's to Mike and Roger. So, on behalf of Mike and Roger. Officer Michael Specht, in appreciation of your dedicated service and commitment to the security and safety of the Jewish community, and in parallel to Officer Roger Heath, in appreciation of your dedicated service and commitment to the security and safety of the Jewish community, from the Concerned Citizens League Shul members of the Jewish community of Chicago, June 2022.
I just want to say congratulations to all you guys who are graduating tonight. It's a good accomplishment. Keep up the hard work, and please keep the shul you are protecting safe. Because we all work together hand in hand. If something goes down the pipe, we all back each other up. So congratulations, and again, thank you for the award. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you again. How about a nice warm hand for our guys in the blue? Thank you. Avram's going to introduce our next speaker. Avram.
I wanted to introduce my dear friend, Rabbi of my shul at Free on Devon, Rabbi Nuttik, to give to our Torah before we start the evening here.
Thank you, Avram. Congratulations to all the awardees, all the graduates. And thank you for all of your hard work, ongoing commitment. This Shabbos, we're going to read a story about a rebellion against Korach, against Moshe rather, by Korach. Korach decides that Moshe's appointment of his brother Aaron to be the high priest, to represent the Jewish people, is man-made, it's nepotism, he decided it on his own, and it's not some kind of divine instruction. And he starts this rift among the Jewish people, and there's people that are upset, and they want Aaron out, Moshe out. It's not a good situation. In response, Hashem says, I want every one of the tribes to bring a branch, a stick, inscribe on each one of these 12 sticks the name of the leader of that tribe. On the tribe of Levi, put Aaron's name, and place these 12 sticks in the sanctuary. And in the morning, the stick that's going to sprout, that's going to be the indication that that's the one that I, says Hashem, want to lead and represent the Jewish people in the Mishkan, in the temple. And sure enough, the next morning, it's Aaron's stick that sprouted, and miraculously, it was full of almonds. Why almonds? Because almonds are the quickest fruit to ripen. It takes 21 days, 3 short weeks, and you'll have almonds on the branch. But why almonds? And the answer is, there are 2 types of almonds. There are almonds that are sweet, they're readily available in the stores, you use them in any recipe, they're good for you. But then you have another type of almond, that they're bitter. They're actually, it can be fatal, it has a prussic acid in it, and it's illegal to sell them in the US. They're dangerous for you. The difference between the sweet ones and the bitter ones is that when the sweet ones start to grow, initially they're bitter. On the tree, you can't eat them. But as they ripen and develop, these almonds get sweet and delicious. The bitter ones works the other way around. It starts off sweet, and when they're small, they're very tasty. But as they become mature and you want to pluck them from the tree, it's very bitter and dangerous. And Hashem chose to prove the point with almonds to teach a lesson. That when it comes to fighting, when some kind of strife or difficulty, discord starts, often in the beginning it's very sweet. People get involved, they have opinions, they feel powerful, they're standing up for the underdog, they get very involved and meshed, and it's kind of sweet. But unfortunately, as the fight develops, it becomes very bitter. And the other way around, if you want to bring peace among people, the beginning tends to be difficult and bitter. You have to apologize, forgive, bury the hatchet. But while the beginning is bitter, in the end, it develops into something that's very sweet. This is something that Hashem is telling the Jewish people after that difficulty, and really a message for all time. That to have peace, you need to go through that bitter stage. But don't get dejected by it, because sweetness will follow. This Shabbos is the yahrzeit of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. And he championed this concept of almonds. From the first day of the Rebbe's leadership, which came after the heels of the Holocaust, the Rebbe really encouraged people to recognize that unity and getting along is the only way. Having that peace, that camaraderie, that working together is what's going to make it happen. And not to be dejected by the bitterness or the difficulty that may have existed, because what will follow is going to be sweet. And this message of sweetness and of unity, of peace, is something which we all strive to do on a daily basis. So we offer our thanks, and really tremendous appreciation to all the SSOs that are graduating today, your commitment and your readiness to make sure that the places that we come to daven, to learn, to celebrate, that all these places are always safe for us, for our wives and our children. And may Hashem bless you, together with law enforcement that you work so closely together. We salute all of you, and a tremendous thanks to CCL for all this work that you do on a daily basis. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi Nutta. Dinner is served. Enjoy their dinner? Still eating? Good. So it took many, many people to make this event today happen. I'd like to thank a couple of people. Where's Daniel? Daniel Brazzelli, who was here since about 10 o'clock with his, did pretty much everything. So I'd like to thank you very much. And same goes for Schneer. Where's Schneer? Schneer Osmondson. Thank you, Schneer. He was here with me till 9 o'clock. So thank you again, Schneer. Also, too, I'd like to thank Larry Engelhardt from Deja Vu Productions. Thank you, Larry. Thank you very much. Larry actually contacted us and said, you know what, I really believe in what you do, and I want to be there. And I know you guys don't have a lot of money, I want to help and do this. So really, thank you, Larry. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Speaking of wanting and helping out, I'd like to thank Yehuda with the Simcha band. He also by the way, Dan, a really nice touch. So thank you very much. Appreciate that. He reached out to us and said he wanted to play. We also like to thank Baruch Goldschmidt. So thank you. And last but not least, our very own SSO on the wind, Bob Yoko. Yes, sir. Bob, you can definitely quit your day job, you know? Our next part is our special recognition. So when we were talking about this several months ago, we were going to, obviously we knew who we wanted to pay special tribute to. Our first one is our Vice President, Avram Hershkowitz, who, Avram, I think it's fair to say without Avram being involved, we would not be here today, and I'd like to thank Avram for everything he does. Quick little story is about 3 years ago, Avram? 3 years-ish, something like that. So I get the first call from Avram. I didn't know Avram at all. Seemed like a nice guy. Asking me a very good question. Actually stumped me. I said, I don't know the answer. I'm going to have to get back to you. Got back to you, which of course led to the second very good question. And I had to get back to him, which led, of course, to the third very good question or comment. I don't remember exactly. It's after the third time I said, you know, we got to get you on our side. So I asked him if he'd be the VP, humbly accepted. So ever since then, we definitely are on the right track. So thank you, Avram. As administrator, Avram's experience adds a lot to our organization and really helps us out because he's kind of litmus test. If Avram said, nah, this is, we shouldn't do this, we accept that. And he really keeps us on the straight and narrow path, so we appreciate that. Thank you, Avram. And I hope I haven't got you too much sugar lately. And it's, you know, it's reciprocal, Avram, sometimes, you know, so it's a pleasure to have you aboard. So Avram, come on up. So this award's from CCL Shul members to our Vice President Avram Hershkowitz in grateful recognition of your unwavering dedication to our organization and the safety of our Jewish community. We couldn't have succeeded without you. Thank you, Avram. I told him this comes with the speech though, so.
Thank you, Chaim. Dear esteemed Rabbanim, law enforcement, I was told it was going to be a fire department, so my mother, and dear friends, I'm honored to be in the presence of such incredible individuals. Thanking our highlight of the evening. Let's give it up to our SSOs. Someone recently mentioned that in their eyes, we are the Hatzalah for police. When first responders are needed, within seconds, we can be there until law enforcement arrives. As we know and unfortunately are seeing that in past horrific events, the role of a Shul safety officer is such an incredible and important role. I have the utmost respect and awe for all of you. Someone from this group once asked me, what's our story? What's our goal? I remember thinking about it till today, about a conversation that came up that Chaim and I had with Rabbi Eisenstein when getting Daniel to join our SSO program. He told us that there was a Rav that said it's good practice for Abanim to review the halachics prior to Yom Tov instead of on Yom Tov when sometimes an halachic complication could happen. However, he realized when he started to proactively study the halachics, less halachic complications happened during Yom Tov. So I pray that the same goes by us. God willing that everything we're doing should just be for training and only for training. I also wanted to give a shout out to some very special people in this crowd that are the ones that made it possible, I believe, for all of us to take the many hours of training that's needed, especially for some of the training that happens on Sunday when that's usually family time. So let's give it up to the incredible wives in this room of all the SSOs. And most importantly, I wanted to say a big thank you to my wife. Thank you.
Thank you, Avram. Our next part is something we really obviously do want to do. Again, 4 or 5 months ago, we were talking about this right away. Came to mind was Abraham and Ellie. Obviously, our dear Ellie is no longer with us. He's definitely here in spirit. I'd like to take a moment and acknowledge what he's done for our organization. Our last conversation on that Thursday actually was this event. We were talking about maybe possibly doing it for by ourselves due to finances. And so what do most people say? Nah, it's too much work. What are you, crazy? We'll downsize it. Let's not do this. Ellie said one word, one very word, sure. And that really talks a lot about Ellie. I never met anybody that did so much for somebody with love and compassion. There's a lot of people that do things, but he just wanted to make people happy. He wanted to help. I know most of us really felt that. If it was in our smokeless range, which is our similar training department, he was there all hours, making our chunk. It wasn't not making food. It was love. It was his way of showing love and care. If it was staying after hours helping the guys in the shop, or helping them on certain things, I mean, he was always there. He never said no. And this is a guy that was my right-hand guy. He did pretty much everything I did. Never would say no. Once I said, can you do this? Can you come? Of course he had to come after 7:15 because he had to take care of his guys, the boys at the yeshiva. That was a priority. And after that, his life was our life. His time was our time. So once he couldn't make it, I said, can you be here Monday? He goes, I can be here on Tuesday. That was the closest to a no we've ever gotten. That happened once. I will truly miss Ellie. He's a great loss to us. So we want to present posthumously to his children, Gracie and Joseph, if you could come up, please. So this is a plaque. Actually, we're also giving a plaque to your grandfather too, based off. I had the privilege of meeting him recently, and the same plaque will be going to him as well. So in honor of Eliezer Shner Zalman Ben Hara Pesach Halevi El Greenberg Moose Zechon Drava, a dear friend who knew how to appreciate every moment of life and was a true definition of a mensch. He will remember him for his optimism and positive energy which permeates all of us. He will truly be missed, but not forgotten. May Ellie's neshama have the ultimate aliyah, the CCL Shul Mountain. Also, too, the guys wanted to do something. We talked about the smokeless range. That's our simulator training portion. That was his baby. Really cherished it. We are going to dedicate that facility, that part of the facility, to Ellie. And this is placard. It's a little bit different because it's from us. Ellie was an extremely vital part of our organization. He was always willing to help and assist with a smile. He never used the word no. It was not in his vocabulary. Ellie genuinely cared about our members and wanted to do whatever he could to support them in our organization. In his honor, we will do our best to continue carrying out our mission and will always remember our dear friend with a big smile. Ellie, you will be missed, but surely not forgotten, the CCL Shul member family. Okay, definitely integral part of what we do as our instructors. We're only as good as our teacher, our learning. It says in Pirkei Avot, which is Ethics of Our Father, it's an old Jewish book. It says, Selech HaRav, find yourself a mentor. We found a mentor 7 years ago or so. We're lucky enough to meet Pete. And from then on, it was a fun around with Pete. Pete truly believes in what he does. He's a real professional, dedicated professional. Like I said, he believes in what we do. His methodical building block and approach to teaching is really appreciated. His crawl, walk, run approach is definitely resonating through us all the time. As we go on, now he's getting a little tougher on us because we deserve it, right, Pete? So, we appreciate that because, like a good parent, they only have so much and then they get out of the line and that's kind of straighten them out. So we were going to get Pete a plaque, and the guy said, yeah, that's really nice. It's very nice, but we want to get Pete something more personal, something he could have on him all the time. So we decided to pitch in and get Pete an engraved knife. We got him a Benchmade Infidel. We got the best for the best. We got it engraved. So Shul, can you bring up the knife? And Pete, let's come up here. I told Pete he's going to have to make a speech, though. I got to read it. I don't have my glasses, and the writing is small, so bear with me. Yeah, we see. I have a nice knife, but my son goes, oh, you don't have anything like this now. I'm not a teacher like you, though. You just got to get the right light. In appreciation of the knowledge, and the skills continues to impart upon us, the SSOs from CCL Shul members. Thank you, Pete. Let me close this.
Show us how it works.
Thank you, Pete. Thank you for all of this.
Got a picture first? Take a breath here. Thank you, everyone. Chaim, I didn't even know it was 7 years ago that we met. I was trying to think of the timeline. I was very honored to be here. I was very honored by Chaim and organization to be offered the opportunity to give knowledge to you guys. It's not me that's doing it. I just give you the information and you guys take it and you run with it. So I preach to these guys, my Shul guys, for the last few years. But I'm going to tell you, the other people that are here, what these guys did. They put in the work and the commitment. And that work and commitment, I'm very proud. I've trained a lot of people. I've been throughout the world. I've trained all different organizations. I've trained all different kinds of people. But here, this is very important to me because we're here in Chicago. This is where we live. It's not just at the Shul synagogue where you guys are going to be at. You could be anywhere, okay? And it's people like you that make the difference, that are going to stand up when harm's way comes in and that evil comes. We don't hear about that very often. There's a lot of situations in the world, in the United States, where active shooter people come in to do bad things, and they're stopped by regular people, not the police, regular people that are there, trained or put in the effort. But you don't hear about them. You only hear about the bad ones, okay, where we lose a lot of people. So to me, this is it's very special to me. And I want everyone here to recognize the people that are graduating today because they put in the hard work. We did a lot of training, not just the firearms training. They do a lot of other training. And I always tell everybody, you could only get as much training as you can. Try to get whatever you can. They do medical training, There's physical defensive tactics training, all kinds of stuff. So I'm just very proud. Thank you. I'm very honored. And I just want to say congratulations to everyone tonight. Thank you.
Also, I'd like to thank Pete's wife for lending your husband to us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Pete, thank you, box. And also, too, I kind of failed to mention, we all pitched in, as far as I know, every single SSO pitched in for this. We wanted all to give this part of us to you. So thank you again. Thank you. Aaron said I have 5 minutes. I got to get a quick speech, so Aaron's got the timer going here. So I really didn't prepare anything. I just want to thank everybody for being here. Incredible amount of joy I get from seeing our guys, you guys, grow in your knowledge. I mean, when we first met some people, they weren't that into it, and then by the end of the year, just how dedicated they are, and to the point where they buy their own, they shoulder their own stop the bleed equipment. That's pretty commendable. Guys really stepping up and doing an important part of their synagogue, and I get a lot of joy of it. I really see everybody grow, both. Just in their base growth, I think it gives me a lot of pleasure. Thank you to my family who puts up with endless hours of this, and I'd like to thank my wife and my son for putting up with this, so thank you. So, again, I'll keep it short. Thank you all for coming and really making this an important evening, and thank you for Larry, and thank you for the band. Thank you, Bob, and thank you for the officers and really for coming here and our trainers, and thank you all.